congratulations, you made it to the first half of this review. This first half is the learning phase of new terms. Now I just added the new terms of Quizlet. So I'm going to start my stopwatch again. You're going to see that go off throughout it. I want to see how much more time it would take me to write the terms down, learn the terms, and review all the terms in general. So I'm going to do the non-study part first. Arpeggiation base. So this part is closely tied with meter. No. Arpeggiation, note for note successfully, status simultaneously. Okay. Another word I can think of is arpeggio. Do, mi, so, mi. Do, mi, so, mi, do. Instead of putting it block, it breaks it apart. That's how I remember this. Block chord is when you've got all the notes that are played in the same time. Long tones for brass players. The brass players is more based on buzzing. Oh shoot, it's okay. Allows the performer to scrutinize. Oh, okay. So we just said solfege. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Is just a representative pitch. Proper bassometer. That's the part I was trying to get it all confused, but I think it's just how Dr. Lund said it. It was We did for all the brass instruments called Tighten the corners of your cheeks. The buzzing. Okay, so that happens. You buzz it into your mouthpiece, and that's how you produce the sound. So that would be the answer to you. Saw palette, velocrum. Saw palette is mouth cavity rises and lowers as the mouth swells in speech, causes also nasal. Program notes essential. Program notes is contextual background, historical context, first performance, scoring, all the details. The long turns allows the performer to scrutinize and adjust the pitch. Vibrate, vibrato, additional benefits of strength and stamina. But that should not be the main purpose of exercise. Focus should be on the quality of the note through the coordination of the diaphragm, throat, oral, and sinus cavities, armature, and the instrument. Okay, it also tells you how much you learned so far. Durational rhythm. Durational is closely tied with meter and the consistency of the aspect of rhythm associated with patterns and duration emphasis encrypts. Tonal rhythm. Tonal rhythm is independent meter. Rhythmic properties of the tonal system. Example sources of tonal rhythm include reoccurrence of a single tone, the octave relationship, chordal, linear associations, constants, and dissonance. Ferranzo. Oh god dang it. What is it? Great. No. Strong accent. Okay. Okay. Oh, strong accent. Okay. Alright. No, lovingly. Okay. This is something I don't know yet. That's alright. Remember boldness. Strong accent. Okay. Lovingly. Con brio brioso. Spirit. Confuso. Confuso is with fire. Congresa grace. Okay. Content tenderness. Tenudo to detach tenudo. No, it's not to detach. If I think of tenudo in music, what will I be expected to do? Hold enough for its full value. Portato. Portato is slurred. Presto. Presto is fast. Very fast is 166 as the metronome's starting point. It can go up to about 200, which detach bowing. To detach the note by playing one at a time. Undo bowing. When you play multiple strings like a tremolo. Okay. 43 minutes of all this? Dang, girl, dang. I'm just gonna keep going. A style of Brazilian music derives from the samba but places more emphasis on the melody and less on percussion. Bossa Nova. A movement in the arts and literature that Romanticism. Bass voice range is EDC. Polyphony. Polyphony is texture with principal melody and accompanying harmonies. Serialism is a method of composition with various musical elements maybe ordered in a fixed series. Latin jazz composers Bozo, Pozo, Guerrero Handy, Giuseppe Joplin, and just one commonly accepted and understood time periods in the Western classical music is divided into which period is associated most strongly with musical nationalism. So on this Romantic period, because the Romantic period is the 1820s to the 1900s. Rumba. Rumba is African song and dance popular in Cuba, three-part movement with fast polyrhythms, improvised verses in repetitive call and response sections. Merengue. Merengue is the music of the Dominican Republic with simple meter. Russian apparatus music. Okay, so the Australian is cultural background, contextual background, historical context, first performance, score, musical style, and the pop. No, it's not it. That's not it. No. It's more about storytelling, preserving history, leading ceremony, and all music from the spiritual realm. Is that answer? Equal voice polyphony. Equal voice is all the voice of equal importance, usually equal rhythmic activity, tenor, longer structure. I think it goes under that definition. Cambiata. Cambiata is a figure in the 16th century polyphony where the voice gets down a distance and a constant, but it's all by steps, then move to a faster note, a resolution. Alto clap. Alto clap is use viola and trombone for incisive ledger lines, middle C's the center line. You know, we don't see those claps, but we did see them in theory, so there's no excuse. Mixed choral formation, alternating STAB pattern, good for intonation. It makes the sound of audience may require more training and independent singing. I think this is the answer. Partials. Partials is specific acoustic property of audible tones. Reflected sound. Reflected sound is capture sound from the walls in sets or desire to give a sense of space. Direct sound is the number of, oh wait, no, direct is a direct sound. Frequency. For a wave of vibration, the maximum displacement is that equal that wait. But now it's a normal wavelength. Amplitude is for wave of vibration. Overtones. The result in again. And that's the result wrong. Harmonics. Specific acoustic property of sound. Frequency. Harmonic. Traditional decibel. No, integral cell, non-integral parts. Person is a fifth, but octave above. Fifth above. Fourth above the U. Third. Quarter balance. Ostinato. Ostinato is Vibrato is moderately. Allegro is faster. That was Allegro wrong. Arpeggiation outbreak arpeggiations when notes are played separately. Do me so. Block chord accompaniment. Block chord is when they play all the notes at the same time. Bone tone for bass players. Bone tones are for brass players. Jasmine Verado, this one. The next one. So solfege, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, the requisite pitch class image. Proper bass armature. No, proper brass armature, sorry, I misread it. My class is all filthy, Nick. I didn't see the word. Okay. Alright. I'm going to hit that answer in just a moment. The answer say the teach to refer in players plus on the mouthpieces. Saw palette bell room. Milk at it, resident Lawrence's. Poker note essentials. Contextual background, historical context. Durational rhythm. Durational is closely tied with meter and aspect. Tonal rhythm is independent meter. Those this one right here. Forenzo with a strong accent. Silent strong accent, no. Reinforcing the tone. Then silent. Then lovingly. Boldness. Cumbery of spirit. With fire. With grace. Congressia. Reinforcement. Contented with tenderness. Hold the note for slurred. Fast. No, very fast. Okay, so we got back here. I'm going to go back to frequency. So number of wavelengths that pass at a given time. Multiple and reinforcing. Fast out very fast. Okay, I'm going to do the test and see how far can I give it the test. So I'm going all the questions all at once and do the feedback. Janissary players, mostly brass, strings, percussion, and harpsichord. That is called Baroque orchestra. Just a minor scale with a lower third, just natural minor. Classical singing mounted between a high powerful rhythm. Popular singing more flexibility than many singers have hollow palates. Manipulates that classical singing. Classical singing. A recurrent theme of musical composition in particular person, idea, situation, often associated with Wagner's ultimate. A style of music is in Trinidad and combines the musical elements from Africa, Spain, and Caribbean. Calypso. The minor key has the same region. Relative minor. The lowest and usually more intense frequency sound more often precedes a sound pitch bass. Integral models of fundamental frequency. Chord that is played note for note successfully instead simultaneously can be played high or low or low to high. Arpeggiation. The national music for Dominican Republic, that's merengue. Detach a note playing one note per stroke. Detached bowing. It's now a style of jazz that persists after 1900, syncopated impository style that plays on building tunes and harmonies, blues and ball songs, backs, and marches. That is called New Orleans jazz. Capture a sound to bounce on the walls and sets music to give a sense of space. Reflect the sound. Bazat Matthew Notre Dame, the first mouse composer. Third, cantata. Potato. Bedwelling Deets. Bedwelling Deets is darkness for vibraphone and marimba. Instruments of program music. One of the earliest forms of polyphony, based on the Kansas first and begins in An original melody includes the contrary motion and oblique motion development of descant late to the 13th century. This part was organum, a rhythm pattern invasive music genre to the South Africa. Region wave. The wave of vibration, maximum displacement of either side to equilibrium to the midpoint. For a wave of vibration, the maximum displacement on either side of the equilibrium midpoint position is amplitude. Coelho Monteverdi, Girolamo Frescobaldi, Arcangelo Corelli, Antonio Vivaldi, Domenico Scarlatti, Francis Couperin, John Philip Rameau, George Philip Telemann, and I know I spelled George wrong. I spelled the name wrong, but that's okay. G.F. Handel, Johannes Sebastian, Harry Purcell. I think if I remember my periods correctly, it would have to be the Baroque. Soft tissue at the top of the mouth. Cavity rises and lowers when the mouth falls in. These closes off cavity. Soft palate. Eyeball. Subpagal and hyperfriction. Reinforcement risotto. A flexible Cuban song music that combines African Cuban themes. Salmentino. With fire. Confugo. Which is a softer tone and reduces the piercing quality of high and low and high notes that can be amplified by other mutes. Okay, if it be wah-wah, straight mute, or bucky mute. If it's wah-wah, it has to say it's associated with monostatus. That's not the case. Straight is tiny, the tone is smaller. So amplification has to be a bucket mute. Syllable do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do just represent pitch classes in Western music tradition. Solfege. Yeah. Gradually slower is the lento. Independent meter rhythmic properties of the tonal system as sources of tonal rhythm includes reoccurrence of a single tone, the octave relationship, and linear associations with consonants and dissonance. And the tonal rhythm. Oh wow, Blind William Jefferson, Charlie Patterson, Blind Blake, Blind William Mattel, Lee Lady, Buka White, Big Boot Boonsey, Muddy Waters, B.B. King, and T-Bone Walker all have something to do with the blues. Timpani, even smooth head grease rim annually. Mallets, white, regularly frequent inspections. Drum, clean, and lubricant hardware inspect the parts. Percussion maintenance is the answer. Polyphonic choral works set to Latin text other than the ordinary as a mass. With a Renaissance motet. Use for viola trombone to avoid excessive lesser lines. Middle Z is the center line. Alto. Song structure with the same music is repeated with every stanza. Strophe of the poem. Stropic form. A dissonant sounding in several pitches only a half step away from the densely packed tone cluster. ABA, ternary form. and accompanying monophonic music without the fixed or music such as Gregorian plainchant. Banjo, mandolin, guitar, auto harp, American fiddle, Spanish dulcimer, dobro, and that's called Appalachian. Call and response, polyrhythm syncopation, and offbeat phrasing, cyclic form, would have to be the form of African music, song and dance, or Latin music. Oh, African music. Okay, that's okay. But I was close. So, which of the following instruments is truly located on the step? Treble clef and sounds a minor third of what is written E flat clarinet. Dance form popular since the 18th century. Triple meter, emphasis on downbeat, begins very involved with the introduction coda reaches high with the waltz form. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, that's a simple waltz. For oblique motion when one stays stationary while the other two move up or down in the direction. West African popular music combining the indigenous melodies and instruments with the influence of, I think that's highlight. Music was limited to a single effect, portraying emotions through objectivity rather than subjectivity. Baroque affections. The method of teaching used by the Greek philosopher Socrates, it also employs a question and answer format to lead pupils to see things for themselves by using their own reasoning. Socratic method. Compound. Okay, intervals that are larger than 1 octave are octave intervals. Compound intervals. Perfect fifths. Intervals larger than an octave don't exist. That would be compound intervals. Loop. Okay, so let me look at it. Alright, so other than the early drums formed by hitting logs with a blunt tool, the precursors of which of the following musical instruments are considered the oldest is called the flute. With tenderness. Contempora. Those are not integral parts of the non-harmonic tones. Scale in which half steps occur between 1 and 2 and 5 and 6 as playing all white keys from E to E. Phrygian. Specific amounts of property automatic tones. Specific is the... Okay, I would say partials. Just go with that answer. Okay. Which Disney movie did Raina Carrot has shown its Tiffany playing as the Lion King?
Which Disney movie did Rainer Carroll is playing on timpani playing?
Okay, wait, no. So this one is John Winter Shaw, Stan Smackovic, Camille Saint-Saëns, Symphony Fantasy, Hector Berlioz. The Soldiers Apprentice is Paul Dukas. It has to be the part of romantic music. Appoggiatura, suspension, passing tone, neighbor tone, and skate tones will have to be all the dissonance found in tonal counterpart. Philosophy of air. Philosophy of air would have to be the physical aspects of brass performance that affect changes in the dynamics. But the African and Latin rhythms in the basic pattern would have to be rumba. The city district originally in New York where composers and publishers of popular music do business. Tin Pan Alley. I think Marlon Bozo, Luciano Pozo, Frank Grillo, Dicey Handy, Dizzy Gillespie, Antonio Costo. That would have to be Latin jazz, but a strong accent for Rossando. Opera is a stage dramatic work from the late 16th century. Oratorio is not a stage and usually centers on a religious and ethical subject rather than the 17th century. Opera and oratorio. Septina Dvorak, Genocide, which is called a Czech nationalist of composers. Lower third and dominant seventh would have to be a blues scale. Pickup notes and a Christmas. Contemporary music featuring a repetition of short melodic rhythm and harmonic patterns with little variation, minimal notes, instrumental and vocal points, consonant, harmonic drones, and continuous well-defined separate sessions. Repetition. And if it's contemporary, I have to say minimalism. Pinky finger does not rest for the cello. Okay, so the difference between the violin and a cello bow is the pinky finger does not rest on method of composition, which various musical elements may be ordered in a fixed series. That's serialism. Johannes Brahms is the most famous composer in the Romantic period. Solo but not solo largo larghetto. Seeing the pressure of the bow is caused by a string dynamic reduction. A bow stroke describes a stroke in which the bow plays two adjacent strings like a tremolo. Undo? Features a tenor line derived from the plaintive of one or more upper voices. In French and Latin, the tenor line has a short repeated rhythmic pattern with the upper voices that contrast. So featured would be a medieval motet. Ali Berlin, Jerome Kern, Gershwin, Harold Arlen, Oscar Hammerstein, Richard Rogers, Cole Porter. That would have to be Broadway. Each number in the sum of the two numbers of four. Fibonacci. Occurs an additional third of a fourth harmonic. Is a complex wave. Tone produced by an instrument is a complex wave. Produces a buzz tone known as a harmonic mute. I think it's wah-wah mute. Which indicates the location of the notes in the scale. Scales agree? Yeah. Both live use of pitches in a piece of music to paint through the singer's vocal abilities that resonate both in a aesthetically pleasing manner. Okay, so tessitura. G to E is baritone range. African song and dance found in Cuba. G parts with fast polyrhythms in proof verses, repetitive call and response section. I think I already answered a question similar to you, and I'd have to say is called rumba. Gradual, slower, and softer. Calendo with spirit. Cambrio. Heavily influenced by the Irish, Scottish, and English immigrants of the 18th century, and features musical traditions such as English and Scottish ballades, dance tunes, and fiddle songs. Fiddle songs use banjo and strong rhythmic drive, harmonic blues notes, and singing originated from African Americans. It also is a heavy ornamentation, improvisation, rhythmic focus, in an upbeat tempo. If it's done by the Scottish, the English immigrants in the 18th century, when it uses banjo, and I think it would be the Appalachian. Includes plot, character, thought, diction, melody, and spectacle. Hero has a mission, can't do. Gets help from and that's the same radio famous will talk about this one. Notes added to the chords above the octave. 9th, 11th, instead of harmony. Call and response, repeated improvised rhythms, polyrhythms, and the use of African instruments such as congas, pratos, dumb pianos, claves, and drum ensembles. Which would be the influence of African, American, and Latin music. Okay, so there's a note between every natural note on a scale except A, C, and D, and G, and A. That's not an answer. B, and C, and E, and F. Could be. B, and C, and D, and E. No. A, and B, and E, and F. No. That's B. A style of Brazilian music derived from the samba by placing more emphasis on melody and less on percussion. Bossa Nova. Pipa, Interthu, Yingan, and Ziti. Chinese instruments. Walking pace, Andante. A scale of tonality which has as a curve between 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 as playing all the white keys from B to B. Locrian. Specific acoustic property of sound. Harmonics. Vocal parts are solid front to back are better suited for harmonic pieces that can create issues for the singers being able to listen to other parts. Choral blot formation. Important wind instrument throughout the Pacific. Popular during courtship and love, making could evoke magical and spiritual qualities, soft and gentle sounds. That would be Polynesian old slope. A dividing air moving through the instrument, that's brass. Trinidad emerged as a reaction to emotionalism in the late Romantic era in the early 20th century. Sought to return to order, restraint, clarity, and formal balance of the music in the 18th century. So this would have to be neoclassical. Polyphony, strictly speaking, the technique of writing polyphony music in a turn to a counterpoint used to or melodic line in the counterpoint form polyphony and okay. Counterpoint counterpunctual. Is applied vibrator resonator. There's a voice mechanism. Blues. Blues is the Black Church heavily influenced the following musical genres through improvisation, storytelling, and call and response. Repeats parts of a figure and states the remainder of a sequence, a mixture of sequence and repetition. Paul sequence. Wagner Tristan also brought a major change to harmonic language in the opera. Chromatic plays a large role. Wagner's harmonic full chromaticism in a range of color paved the way for experimental and tonal compositions in the 20th century. So this one had to be the evolution of harmonic language. Texture of pencil melody and accompanying harmonies. I think this is polyphony. Major is Ionian. We talked about the modes. Focus on tragic and serious subjects that were historical rather than mythical. 3 acts of alternating arias and recessivities are the 6 and 7. That's called Abseria. German music. German music is one of the musical genres that influenced the development of tango. A lot of performers are scrutinized to judge pitch, timbre, vibrato, and additional benefits of strength and stamina, but it should not be the main purpose of exercise. Focus should be the quality of the note through the coordination of the diaphragm, the oral and sinus cavities, armature in the instrument. Long tones for brass players. Elgar follows and Holst would be the English nationalistic composers. Romantic period would have to be the commonly accepted understood time periods in the Western classical music that has been divided into which period has to be strongly. Song is Largo. The song style which a singer or musician leads with a call and the group responds is call and response. The scale in which half steps occur between the 3 and 4 and 6 and 7 as playing all white keys in Mixolydian. A single line, texture, or melody without accompaniment. Polyphony, Models 1. Special organization around a tonic or home pitch based on a major or minor established in the tonality. Fast, allegro. Beat hits grades of shaking percussion sound production. Form with abacaba, forward fast allegro movement. So ABA themes and variations, 3 dance. I think it's classical symphonic form. Straight mute. Fast most independent from mallet movement by placing the mallet between the thumb and index fingers, second fingers, and middle ring fingers so do not cross its called Buster Stevens grip. So, Joel Carrot, Daphne, Gianjo Rose, the Forest of Village, Giomos from Gigi, Bound Butterfly, W.A. Mozart, Manager Figaro, Giuseppe, that's an opera. I know that's an opera. Feature great modes, clarity of vocal lines, harmonic constants, imitative counterpoint, and specificity. The printing press was allowed for printing music. Renaissance, 1450s to 1600. Mills used a second last line that's called tenor clap. Rhythms of the samba and music in Europe and Africa. That is going to be rhythms of samba. Will have to be Afro. Okay, that is going to be tough. First two are not right. I can see this Afro-Cuban. Afro-Brazilian. Okay, I just realized that that one I was right. Yeah. Very fast is Presto. A musical diary based on it in Paris in 1952. It offers to document the musical sources from around the world. Series A is arranged by a composer in printed music A-1 and manuscripts A-11. Series B arranged by topics such as ancient Greek music theory or manuscripts and lute tablature. Series E is Repertoire International to sources music house online is the answer to that one. Tangential fifth above. Second harmonic. Yeah. Okay. Which of the following tempos is played between 120 and 168 beats per minute? Allegro. Antonio Carlos, Jobim Gilberto, Vincent Rosales, Sergio Mendes, Roberto Mendesco, and Mauro Leo. Which one is you? Bossa Nova. High brasses. Okay. Please give me more information. When arranging music in a group of instruments, the best described best functions of credit verse is called the high brasses. Minor scale that raises the sixth and the seventh, but goes back down natural minor is melodic. A French movement synchronous with visual arts by painters, characterized by exotic scales, unresolved distances, a parallel chords, rich orchestra, tone color, and rhythm-free strict harmonic rules, melody centered around a single pitch. A French movement is Impressionism. Due to vibration is close to woodwind. Judo Mono is historical play. Diva Monocle is domestic theater dramas. Shusagai are deaths, 3 types of kabuki. The standard structure are established in the classical era. 4 moves where the first move is a sonata form, allegro and a tonic key, a slow movement in a related key, and minuet, trio fall in the fourth movement, rondo sonata form, and the tonic key is string quartet. An international database phone is a scholarship from around the world related to any musical discipline. A few examples are historical musicology and musicology, instrument voice and music therapy, and dance is called film aspects of music therapy. Arabic, Turkish modes of system rules and expectations for composition and improvisation. So that would have to be McClellan. Exposition, development, recapitulation, coda, melody, and a whole lot of things are used in exposition. Images in a tonic key and second such in dominant interrelative minor. That would have to be sonata form. B to G is the tenor voice. 2 to 4 times a year. Okay, how often should a piano be tuned? It's 2 to 4 times a year. Sound is transmitted directly from the sound source to the ears. Direct sound. The number of complete waves at the passive point in a given time is frequency. Okay, so what instrument was Concerto in A minor by Mozart written for its strengths? Storytelling, preserving history, leading ceremony, and music from all to spiritual realm is role as Australian Aboriginal music. Polyphony in greater importance is given to one or more melodic lines. Unequal voice polyphony. Before every playing session is when a brass player should have his babble. Khan Hadiscan, the most world Britain, is characterized by what musical form is called in response. Moderately is called Morado. 10-volume set of encyclopedic reference covering all worlds of music. It's generally the authoritative source of information regarding in musicology. That is, in musicology would be Garland Encyclopedia of World Music. 1940s, merging the rhythms in instruments with Afro-Latin music and American jazz. Latin jazz. A polyphonic music texture with a melodic content different from one another. Classic. Non-imitative polyphony. A type of inexpensive shows that was a variety first in the 1870s, often consisting of common stretches, song and dance routines, and magic acts. Vaudeville. The tone in which blood pressure changes a concern by a single sine wave. Pure tone? Yeah. Physics. Physics is an overall discipline that music could be understood. The vibration and pressure oscillation through the medium that's transmitted to the air through the mechanical structure of the ear can be to the brain is sound production. fairly high Barocco. Two buzzing players left in the air travels through metallic brass. Joseph Lanier, Johannes Strauss, Franz Schubert, Frederick Chopin, Liszt brought out called Vietnamese. Yeah. Alternate STAB pattern good for intonation and mixing sound and audience. May require some more training. Choral mix. Is that transposition each note in a sequence? Real sequence. Classical form and a refrain, two contrasting B and C. Replace it and the refrain creates symmetrical patterns such as AB, ACA, or Rondo. Right, the 12th and 13th century poets in music Socrates, secular music has been notated only pitches, not rhythms. That is called troubadour and theirs. The intermediate book for snare studies is the short repeating and common forms throughout a musical word that can consist of simple rhythmic, light, and harmonic. Stable foundation for main melody line. This would have to be short repeating. Ostinato. Backing that is used to embed against work instruments. Reassembles the western mode and limited to the lower texture chord. McWilliams system of melodic organization. Wipe a soft cloth at the end of small amounts of valve oil before each session. Clean and lubricate all sides, cool and dry in brass maintenance. An opera on a light-hearted or humorous theme, typically in French or spoken dialogue, replacing a recitative. The form usually lacks structure and features prominent orchestral instrumental parts. Technique. What Nightly News did, Mitchell Peters had his symphony playing about NBC. Debussy Ravel, Messiaen, Bartok, and George Crumb. Impressionism? Yeah. E to C. Bass chord range. Plagal F. Hybelian. Gregis Sibelius. That is called the Norway in Finland. Which of the following name of the note in the sample below is called D flat? West African skin John B played with bare hands and back to Mali did djembe. The style of simultaneous comes combining a number of parts, each forming an individual melody and harmonizing with each other. Polyphony. The termination is second introduced the enclosed space to decrease of 1/1000 of original reverberation. Irish Gerwin and Copeland. Americans? Yeah. Program music, deceptive music, never figure out you don't put in the program. Actual music don't have a story, plot, significance. Wasn't enough music for music's sake is called program and absolute music. Music that play fourth and adulthood, invitations, marriages to death, singing and drumming and dancing. Importance of alright. Pitches are placed simultaneously like a chord. Players can combine notes that are really separate into block chords from a chord chart. Block chord accompaniment. Yeah. Minor scales that raises the leading tone is harmonic. Binary form, which the beginning of all first section returns to the tonic in the latter part of the second section. Rounded binary. Places of the second mount between the index and middle fingers by the end of the mount underneath. Okay, I know that's burn grab. The 1600s to the 1750s, and has ornamentation, will have to fall under Baroque era. 1937 2017, Mitchell Peters. Afro-Cuban, Afro-Latin music are the two prominent subgenres of bluegrass. Okay, so which of the musical mode is shown in the sample below? Okay, I'm looking at my sample and saying it looks like it's Lydian. Its sound increases Africano. All voices equal importance and usually rhythm, attitude, tenor no longer structured. Equal voice. A movement in the arts and literature that originated in the late 18th century, emphasizing inspiration, subjectivity, and the primacy of the individual. Romanticism. It stills the voice to carry more vibrant, rich sound. Vocal tracks in an optimal resonance for certain frequencies, and a singer should maximize the vibrating vocal track. Role of resonance. A sustained repeated tone either sung or played on one or more instruments. Drone accompaniment. Statement of the melody is longer notes valued twice as slow as the original augmentation. Kyrie, Gloria, Credo, Sanctus, Benedictus, and Agnus Mass. The 19th century artistic writer and pianist taught the still life rather than realism. Debut pattern derived from Haiti and Cuba that becomes foundational to jazz and rhythm and blues music in New Orleans. So it would have to be Trujillo. Real is the answer. The answer transposes exact tone, not in the dominant key. Tonal answer. The theme is transposed loosely in the dominant key, modified so it maintains harmonic congruency as the this is called real and tonal. A method of composing all pitches in a composition are derived from a special ordering of 12 tone system, which is special mode. And that would be the question after that. Klinka, Parodi, Porofik, Magorsky, and Rimsky-Korsakov. That is this Russian composer. Vocal parts are in columns and tenors behind sopranos and basses. To his polyphonic music to make it easier for singers to hear for balance. Vocal is columnar, minuet and trio. Octave about fundamental. First harmonic. I'm gonna take a little pause and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm coming back now. and come back and answer those questions. So I'm going to hit start again. Set a strong accent. Sir. With boldness. Cambura. Scales that has the same tonic, but lowers the third, sixth, and seventh. Same tonic is parallel minor. The authoritative reference work for Western music over 30 volumes. The New Groove Dictionary for Music and Musicians. Okay, so the bass line is Billie Jean, Temptation Pop, Rose Rolling Stone, Take a Chance on Me, all had to sing with ostinatos. F to D is the alto voice range. Scale makes up all 12 pitches, usually divided into an octave. Chromatic. Latin dance fad of the 1940s and 50s that combined the rhythm of the Afro-Cuban with horn sounds of big band jazz, performed by an ensemble of double bass, bongo, tumbadora, trumpets, guitar, and voice. There would have to be mambo. I know, yeah, West Side Story had a mambo, yeah. Terry Riley, Steve Rich, Phil Glass, John Adams, Lamont Young. This would have to be minimalistic. Tones that result from sound waves that are multiple of the bass tone. Primary determinant of timbre. Tones that result overtones. And I spelled result wrong. I was typing so fast, so a comic opera, usually in Italian, especially when one character is drawn down from everyday life, instead of using heroic or mythological people, it represents regular scenes in every day is called opera buffa. Middle C to A is called a soprano voice range. Combines two or more simple part forms. Compound music form. Several subjects are different. Also, breaking the subject again, fugue form. Paul Hindemith, Igor Stravinsky, Jonathan Borowski, Mia DeFalla, and Aaron Copland. Neoclassical composers. Prolific choral works center sacred Latin texts other than the Mass. One and two main forms of sacred Renaissance music. Mozart. Nave Rosaro was the one that did Marcha and Second Dance. Style music evolved from African American spirituals and noted first mahogany sound rose during the emancipation of slaves in the U.S., known for call and response, unaccompanied voice. Accompanied style have roots and traditions in African music. There's G.F. Handel, Messiah, Joseph Haydn's Creation, and Felix Mendelssohn's oratorios. And For Unto Us a Child is Born, that's an oratorio. Both refer to the collective sound provided from a group of singers. Choral balance, equal level of sound from the group of singers. Choral blend, uniformity of vowel formation, and tones among the singers. Both refer choral balance and choral blend. With grace. Congresia Gloriosa, Godoli, and Bartok, which is called Hungarian. Important element of the 19th century musical style, patriotism, festive music, influences folk song and dance, myths and legends and landscapes, historical events. That's a mouthful. But if I could say one thing, it would have to be nationalism. Hold the note for its full value. Tenuto closely tied with meter and consists of aspects associated with the pattern of duration. Emphasizing in groupings. Closely tied is durational rhythm. Venus Granada de Fala. Spanish nationalistic. H and F mezzo-soprano range. Milton Babbitt, Pierre Boulez, Joel Lewin, Anton Webern, Carolina Stockhaven, Luigi Nona, Roger Sessions. Cello composers. A scale with the pattern whole, step, half, whole, half, and whole. Dorian. So and Broad. So and Broad is our Gizmo. Third time moves with different tonal center other than the first. Modulating. The false form places rhythm emphasis on what beat, the first beat. The major scale with a raised fourth is called Lydian fugue. The preceding match can be described as a fugue. Austrian composer, leader of the Second Viennese School, invented serialism as same as the 12-tone system. Schoenberg. Is a popular music counterpart to the definite new group. Is a authoritative reference work for all popular music, include rock, pop, jazz, hip hop, reggae, blues, electronica, and heavy metal. Said popular. Encyclopedia of Popular Music is the answer. Integral multiples as harmonic overtones. Alright, so who wrote the four-piece ballad piece called Yellow After the Rain? Mitchell Peters. The group that played the part of the figure bass is basso continuo. Yeah. Four-bar phrase of AAB or ABC pattern mostly common in 12-bar blues. A form of variation is a self-contained sexual variation. Oh wow, there's multiple forms playing simultaneously all variations of the same line of music. Multiple is heterodoxy. Due to the vibrations of the strings and the resonant by using string tone production. Lovingly is amoroso. Additional fourth above. Third harmonic. Cuban rhythms such as a mambo and a habanero with the elements of bebop. Afro-Cuban jazz incorporated those styles of music. Accommodated the diatonic scale so that only diatonic notes of the scale are used. Tonal sequence. Those are such that the sound waves motion energy. Mouth cavity should be open in the left, touch cavity cheeks should be firm, and player should buzz on the mouthpiece. That one would have to be bassometer. A type of Japanese drama where music and dance and midnight are used to present stories stemming from the Edo periods of the 1600s. Typically has four parts. Kuruku. Let's see how much I got. Oh, I missed one? Oh my gosh, this is the first one I got 100. I gotta take a snap out of this. And this is how much it took me to study, too. But that's okay. Practice is worth it. You know, more practice I do, the better I get. And also, the more prepared I would be when I take my practice when I'm ready. So practice makes perfect. I'm going to keep going with these in the future videos and keep pushing to know all my terms and find other ways to study too besides